Joining us now for our weekly segment with the Daily Poster is Andrew Perez. Great to see you, Andrew.
Good to see you, Andrew.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course. Absolutely. So you've got an interesting piece up here, some updated reporting on the Medicare drug pricing. So just so everybody recalls, Democrats have been running on the ability of Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices, saving a bunch of money since 2006. It was supposed to be in the Build Back Better plan. It has been stripped down along with a number of other measures that would reduce prescription drug prices. And you have a piece here saying Pharma Dems saved the drug industry $500 billion. Talk to us about that background, those provisions, and what exactly they did in order to save those $500 billion.
Sure. So the plan that Democrats were talking about for much of the past year would have saved, would have basically cost the industry $700 billion in revenue, an estimated $700 billion. And the latest version would cost about $250 billion. So it's a net of about $450 billion over a decade, and just almost $500 billion. And it's something that's been sort of lost in the shuffle here. I think a lot of progressives are sort of happy that there's at least some drug pricing provision in here. And there are some items in this measure that would help save people money, the public money, but basically Big Pharma won a huge victory here, and they're still out ranting about how this bill is sort of going to be the death of them, but it's really not going to be. And so not only is it not going to be, but their return on investment here is just huge. We've seen reports about how much they've spent on lobbying so far this year. Like around $260 million, and they've been running ads. We talked last week about some ads that they've been running. One of their front groups running to boost Kyrsten Sinema in Arizona. They've put some money into some ads boosting some of their allies in the House too. But overall, that money is not going to be even, it's going to be less than 0.1% of the money they just saved.
So introduce us to some of these Pharma Dems. Who are they? How much money are they getting for this?
So Kyrsten Sinema obviously has sort of led the effort in the Senate. Scott Peters has been a longtime recipient of Pharma cash in the House, as has Kurt Schrader from Oregon. And they're all benefiting now from some spending by this group called Center Forward, which we spoke about last week. It's this sort of group that's supposedly a outfit for political centrism. But Center Forward has put at least $1.2 million into ads boosting Sinema. They're also running digital ads promoting Peters and Schrader. And we've seen even some smaller advocacy groups that are also pharma funded running banner ads in newspapers supporting Peters and Schrader, as well as Kathleen Rice in New York, who helped negotiate this deal too. And Josh Gottheimer has also been involved in the effort in New Jersey. And some of these lawmakers are, kind of so-called moderates who are worried about the deficit. But, here you're talking about they could have brought in $450 billion in revenue, helped fund the reconciliation bill. And, they explicitly chose not to.
Yeah, suddenly the deficit was not a concern so much as making sure they were delivering for the donor class ultimately, which is incredibly revealing. Could you explain the details of the quote-unquote compromise that was ultimately struck here? Because originally it looked like prescription drug price negotiation was going to be out of the bill altogether. Then they said, okay, well, maybe we can negotiate on just this few handful of drugs. Can you break down sort of what that looks like at this point?
Yeah, basically, they'll be able to negotiate much fewer drugs. The last one would have done sort of 25 drugs a year at first, and then 50 in subsequent years. I think this one's about 10 each year. What the real trick though is that here you're only the government's only going to be able to negotiate prices on drugs that have passed their exclusivity period. And they're not going to be able to basically affect any drug prices at their launch. So it's not going to really lower those drug prices really overall. One of the positive things here is that there will be a cap on insulin prices at $35 a month, I believe, which will definitely help people. But it also goes into effect, the insulin cap after, I believe, in 2023, so right after the midterm elections. So it's going to be hard to tell people that, like, we've lowered drug prices when it's sort of TBD.
Yeah, it only affects like a few drugs also. Talk a little bit more about that timeline, because that's something you sketch out here. The implementation of this is going to take a long time.
Yeah, they won't actually, and this was in the original legislation too, but they won't be negotiating prices on drugs until 2025. So it is a few years down the road, and in fact, it's after the next presidential election. So you could see, if Republicans flip the entire government, that won't happen. It should definitely be a concern here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for joining us, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
Thanks
Always
for breaking
appreciate
this down,
it.
Andrew. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you guys for watching. Have a fantastic day, a great weekend. We got more fantastic content posting for you over the weekend for your enjoyment, and we'll see you back here on Monday. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.